So this is the R10 on the tripod. So just as a quick reminder, you can do a lot of different things with this, but I'm going to show you the process on how you take this off, take the capture card out, and then we're going to put it into the computer, whether it be the PC or one of the laptops that we have. So the first thing, obviously right here, there is a button that you need to loosen up. So you're going to loosen this to the left. Okay, loosen that up right there. Now it's kind of shaky, and then you're going to press this button here to slide it out. Now this is the case, or like this is the part where it goes on top of the tripod. You don't have to take this off. Okay, so basically I've got it set up to where you can just take the capture card out right there, and or you can take the battery out. So what I'm going to do is, I don't have fingernails, so I'm going to open that up, and there it is right there. Okay, so the capture card's in there. If you need to take the battery out, you take the battery out and replace it like so. You make sure that the gold faces the gold. Okay, and then I'm just going to press this right here. Okay, and then I'm going to close this until I upload my capture card to my laptop. Now, here's what I have. I got the handy dandy capture card reader. Okay, it says this side up. Okay, SD up. Okay, which means this is that side, this is this side. So I'm going to put it in like this, that side up, right there. Okay, now you can put it in USB-C, you can put it in USB-A. So now let's move on to the laptop. All right, so the next step is putting it in the computer. So I'm going to use the USB-C because we've already got it there. I'm going to use the USB-C side. So let's put it in the computer right there where it is clicked. Okay. Now you've got it there in the computer. You see it there. It is loaded. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to a screen capture so we can see this process. Okay, so now that we have the SD card plugged in, we're going to go to our folder that looks like this. Okay, and we're going to look at some, the different options where, in this case it's an SD card, right? If it'll say Pocket 3, or all the other ones will just say SD cards. So on the SD cards, the process is basically the same. You're going to click on DCIM, and then you're going to see the videos that are there. Now, one thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to click on extra large view. Now you can see where you have some students working on some things. You also can see where I've got my demonstration right here. Okay, so whatever you want to use, you want to add to a folder. So like in my case, what I'm doing is I'm going to go to my raw footage folder. Okay, now this is the way that you always want to save it. Okay, so you're going to click on new, and today is 12/8. Okay, so I'm going to 12/9/25. I'm going to call it 6th grade media team. Okay, and actually because they're doing a series, I'm just going to go 6th grade media team. We'll say 12/9/25. Yeah, that'll be fine because I will say that's when it started. So all their videos are going to go there. Okay, and then I'm going to share it with them. So basically, I'm going to click right there. I'm going to click on File Upload. I'm going to go down to my SD card, DCIM, Canon. Now, in this case, I like to pull the window larger, and I also like to view extra large icons so I can see them. Because if you notice, this is the one that I did. So I'm gonna hit the control button, and I'm going to select all the one. I'm holding the control button and selecting all of the videos that are there, and then I'm going to hit open, and then it's going to go straight in that folder. Now the cool thing about it, if you do it right, then everything is going to be saved. And so in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share it with the 6th grade media team. So I'm going to share it with them so they can be editors because they're working on this Bare Necessities project. That way they have full access to it. So in the future, they will be able to access it. And I'll say use this for all of your raw footage, videos, or still images. Okay. Now, if you're collaborating with a student, you do the same thing. My recommendation, I like to put the date and then kind of an explanation. That way they know when it started. So like, for example, for me, I'm going to go back to raw footage and it says complete. Okay. So I'm going to go back to raw footage and I'm going to go new folder. I'm going to say 12.9-25, Mr. McGuire R10 demo. Okay, pretty simple, right? So that way I can find it fairly easy. So if I put something, if I just search R10, it'll pull up. So I'm going to open that folder. All right, so let me hide that there. I'm going to refresh just because the internet is kind of moving slow. Here we go. I'm going to double click file upload, or if you want to, you can go over here and click on new file upload. Either way, I'm going to click on what I've done, open. So all my footage is going to be right there. Okay. So that's the process. So now let's go back to the camera so we can look at some more options. But before we do so, since everything is already uploaded, I'm going to go and hit Control A to select all the files and delete them. That way we don't want them anymore. Now, the most important thing before you do anything, you don't want to mess up the capture card. So I'm going to double click and I'm going to eject it. Okay. Now I can take it out of the SD. I can take it out of the SD card reader and pull it out of the USB-C. And there's the process. All right, guys, so here's the next part. You're going to put the SD card back in the R10 right here. Okay, so you're back in there. Okay, and then the next process is to put this back on the tripod. So you've got to press this button here and slide it in, and you notice it's not real secure just yet. So then I'm going to tighten that up, and then I'm ready to go. Now, one thing I want you to notice is you can tighten this up, you can loosen this up to go up and down, okay? And you can also, move a few other things too. So remember with this process, remember that you need to look at this right here, that bubble, make sure it's level depending on where it is. So underneath right here, there is this little piece right here that you need to unscrew. By unscrewing it, it makes it to where you can level it. So in this case, I'm going to put that bubble right in the middle of the circle, and then I'm just going to tighten that up. And now you're ready to go, okay? Also, if you need to, you can move this down, okay, and tighten that up. You can move this one down, tighten that up, move this one down, tighten that up. For mobility, pull this, and now I can go upstairs, right? You want it to be really tall. You move that down, and then you move this down. Whoops. Let's do the other ones first. So you've got all kinds of options to use here to make it really tall, okay? So we're going to do this first. Make sure you lock them and be very careful because you don't want to break them. All right, so you're right there, and then if you want to make it taller, then you can take these, make them really tall, like this, like this. So, and this is a very sturdy tripod. Okay, so that's how you use the tripod. and sometimes you'll need to be that tall. Now, the problem with this is you might have to get higher to see this little bubble here, okay? All right, so I'm gonna leave it like that. There's your process on the tripod and how to use the R10.